Hello traders, we're going to take a look at our last pick. We're going to do some market analysis and then we're going to find a new pick. That's how all these videos work. I want you to have confidence that this trading system works. Happy 4th of July, by the way. Hope all of you had a great celebration. This was in effect a 4-day weekend. So let's take a look at our last pick. Coin, COIN, was the pick that I highlighted. I love the fact that it was well above all the major moving averages, so let's add those. You can see a horizontal breakout through this trend line, another trend line here. We had a very long-term trend line that was breached to the upside that came all the way back down like this. That was also very positive, very bullish, decent volume, excellent relative strength. We're marking all the check boxes. Yes, this stock is a little bit choppy. And I had mentioned that in my previous video. That is why we wanted to buy dips. You can see this is the price action Monday abbreviated trading session. Stock really did well, but that's Friday, Thursday. This is the video. Came out right about in here. So the stock has rallied from about $70 to $80. I'd say that's a pretty good pick. In any event, coin is the type of stock where you have to buy these dips. We have alerts that we're setting for these, and when I recorded the video, it was currently strong relative to the market. It had just turned weak relative to the market. And when we're looking for opportunities to trade these, day trade them, or even swing trade them, we want to be using these variables like strong versus the S&P 500 on a 30-minute basis. And this is when the video came out right in here. You can see the stock pulls back. It always pulls back. It's choppy as heck. And so when we get these pullbacks, we know that there's early strength because the volume is good. Traders are in there. The stock is breaking out. But we want to wait for these dips and we want to time them. And there was a really nice one when the relative strength, 1OSI we call it, went from negative to positive. Right in here, that was on Friday. It did that. In any event, I like coin. I think coin continues to move higher. I love this breakout. Love the price action that we saw on Monday. Watch for it to continue higher, but buy dips, set these alerts. That's the way that we're going to be trading for quite a while, and it works on a day trading basis and a swing trading basis. But on a swing trading basis, you just have to use longer time frames because you're looking for those dips to be larger so that the bounce, the recovery is also larger. It gives you much more upside potential. Potential that because you're swing trading, you have the latitude to hold the stock through that period. So let's take a look at the market. I'm going to keep this video very, very short. You can see we had a nice breakout. This was the day before triple witching, and then we gave some of those gains back. This was the FOMC in here, and the market pulled back. We had some rebalancing by the funds. They had to sell stocks, buy bonds because of how much the market had run up. We also had some natural profit taking. This was just a pullback in a bullish trend. And so we were aware of that. We were waiting for the pullback. And now we've been taking bullish positions, and the market is testing this relative high. I think it's going to continue to float higher. We've got some economic news coming out this week. Not a huge dose of economic news, but we've got some key numbers. So, for instance, tomorrow, Wednesday, the FOMC minutes are going to be released. Normally, traders will be waiting to see how they turn out. We could have a holiday hangover tomorrow where not much of anything happens early. Maybe we go right into wait and see mode for the FOMC minutes, but the reality is there's nothing that's going to be new in those minutes that we haven't already heard, especially with all the Fed speak recently. Jerome Powell testified before Congress for 2 days, so there's nothing new. But yes, could have a lackluster day. We wait for a yawner in the FOMC minutes tomorrow afternoon. Then on Thursday, we get ADP, and we're also going to have ISM services released. So that could drive the market a little bit on Thursday. Friday, we're going to get the jobs number. So it came out at 339,000 last month. They're calling for about 230,000 this month. I think the number is going to come in pretty close to that. We've seen the initial jobless claims over the course of the last 4 weeks. They've been pretty steady at this level. So hourly wages, because it's inflationary, always something important to watch. Zero point 0.3 is the expectation. 0 0.3 is where it came in last month. If it's up around 0.5, that could rattle the market a little bit. 0.6 for sure. So everyone's watching for nice stable numbers this week. 230,000 jobs or so, 0.3 on the hourly wages. All of this should be consistent with the market just kind of floating higher on light volume. These are the summer doldrums, and you can see that this pullback here came on light volume. We can expect that light volume to continue. Earnings season starts in about 2 weeks or so. That should start getting the market a little bit more excited, and we could possibly see a little bit of a rally into earnings season. So the market right now is conducive for looking for trades on the long side. Monday was an abbreviated session, very, very light volume. So we'll go in and take a look at some searches, and I'm going to use one that's a little bit unique. I'm going to use the strong after earnings search because it's not impacted by that abbreviated trading day on Monday and the light volume. So typically, if I were going to run searches, I'd want to see that really big volume, those really big breakouts. Well, Monday was a yawner. The market really didn't do a whole lot of anything. So this strong after earnings search shows me stocks that have reported in the last 2 weeks that gapped up after the earnings announcement, so the reaction was favorable, and now the stock is trading above that gap up. So good reaction. It held that opening move, and it's been able to advance. I'm also going to add the AVWAPE indicator, and I did an extensive video on this Friday. So please make sure that you go into my YouTube channel, check out that previous video. It's an hour long. It's a very long one, but I feel that this study could be very valuable. I think it's going to help you identify really good entry and exit points for stocks in particular. And we've got an earnings announcement. So let's take a look at these different stocks in here. As I go down the list, and I want to keep this video short, you can see this nice gap up. You can see how the stock has been able to preserve that opening gap up price. Hence, it's on the list. This is a really nice stock, PDCO. Volume has fallen off just a little bit. CMC, let's get that indicator up, by the way. And you can see, first of all, above all the moving averages, which is good, PDCO, above all the major moving averages, that's good. Really preserved that gap nicely, and now it's challenging that high in here. I think this stock's going to continue to move higher. So let me add another study, and that is going to be the AVWAPE, and that is anchored to the earnings announcement date. Now, we do currently show the one standard deviation move in Option Stalker Pro, and I'm contemplating adding the second and third standard deviation. So I have them on my chart. I'm testing them. In the video, you'll see how they come into play and how they can potentially be used to help us in adding to the position or setting targets or possibly use them to set stops. So let's take a look at how PDCO lines up, and you can see how it is still above and below that AVWAP-E line. So it's still finding its way, and it typically takes a couple of weeks for the stock to be able to do that. So we're getting to the point to where we should start to see some movement. Same thing here, above and below, but now the stock is actually starting to push higher. It's taken out that previous high post earnings, and it closed near that one standard deviation band. So I like this. Let's zoom out and take a look at what that longer term chart looks like. And there you can see it is in about the middle of the range right now. and we had a downward sloping trend line here earlier in the year. We had a nice horizontal trend line that came into play right here. So I'm going to take off the AVWAPE for a second here, and we're going to clear the charts up. And so we'll clear that. So we can take a look at where these trend lines come into play. Let's also remove the major moving averages. And now we can see we've got a nice upward sloping trend line here. This is a high plus that's been breached to the upside. Plenty of room to get to this downward sloping trend line. I like this stock. I think this is going to be my pick of the day. So CMC, Charlie, Mary, Charlie. So what do we do with a stock like this? We're going to take a look at that daily chart. Not too bad. Once it sets a trend, it tends to perform pretty well. So you can see here it tests the downside. We get a little bit of a cross up in here, starting to gain some relative strength. In here we get another cross, and now we're finally starting to build some momentum, and we get a little bit of volume, which we have to have volume right now. It's one of the most important aspects in stock selection right now is that it has volume. The market has no volume. So all the heavy lifting is going to have to be done by the stock. And so in this instance, we've just recently had earnings. They like the earnings. So institutions are out there supporting the stock. Let's go back into that daily chart. And you can see this nice little breakout right here on Monday. Came on decent volume. We'd like to see that open from Monday hold. So that would be at minimum what I would be watching for. Then we want to see the stock gain its relative strength. So we want that orange line to stay firmly above zero when trading resumes tomorrow, Wednesday. And we'd like to see this, some decent volume. This is the 1 vol indicator. The blue line is above zero. It tells us that the volume is greater than average. So if we have all of those characteristics come tomorrow, market is opening flat to slightly higher, and I think the indication right now is for pretty flat open. Stock is showing some strength relative to the market. Stock has some decent volume coming in. We already know on a daily basis they like the earnings. They've been able to digest the gains. We've held the gains. Half of this long green candle was preserved. Stock's not too far out of the gate, meaning it's still got some decent upside to it. Those are all reasons that I like this particular pick. And buyers who were not able to get into the stock here are now starting to have to chase it, because for a while the stock is going to digest gains. So you'll have some natural profit taking that comes in. Buyers are going to be a little bit more passive after a gap up like that after earnings. And now they have to get more and more aggressive. So they start bidding to get their stock trades off. And that's also why the stock is trying to get above that AVWAPE. So what I would want to see is I want to see it above that 1 standard deviation mark. I want it to close above that 1 standard deviation mark. That would be the final confirmation that I need to really get behind this stock, even on a swing basis. And it's not too far from it right now. So it looks like about $54 is about that 1 standard deviation mark. If it can close above that with some decent volume, I think the stock sets up well for a swing trade. Could take some profits at that $57 level, and then evaluate what kind of momentum the stock has behind it, and if it has that decent volume. And if the market's creeping higher, you've got partial profits you can take here, and then see if it can get up to that 3 standard deviation. If it does, then you definitely want to be taking some gains up there. That's how I would approach it. Look for fairly lackluster start to the trading day tomorrow, Wednesday, and then the action should pick up Thursday and Friday because we've got some decent economic news for the market to evaluate. Thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. We'll see you soon. Thank you for watching this YouTube video. I'm Pete Stolzers, and I'm going to keep the trade ideas coming along with lots of education, so make sure to subscribe to the channel and please turn on your notifications so that you never miss another trade.
If you like the content, please give it a thumbs up. I've loaded 2 other videos that I think you're really going to enjoy. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon.